Welcome to Anime Sickos. It's the podcast for geniuses and the only podcast where we take a look at the four pillars of modern misery, anime, gaming, posting, and jobs. I'm Tom, an anime sicko.
I am Joe, an anime sicko.
We got a guest. I couldn't think of a gag.
That was good. Let's really remove any facade.
Yeah, we do little gags. We do little song and dance, a little soft shoe for most of these. Like we're doing a little skit. It's like that thing, you know, when YouTubers have fucking like collaborations with other YouTubers, and like the other guy's like cartoon avatar starts like paper doll moving around next to the other guys, and like, what are you doing here?
Everything you're saying is made up.
Yeah, it's from Super Hell. It's from my nightmares. It's from my night terrors. Anyway, we're not gonna do that. We have a guest. It's Taylor Moore. Taylor, hello.
Aloha. How are you, gentlemen?
I'm lovely. How are you?
Pretty good. Yeah, thanks.
Oh, great. And to the listener, how are you? Give it a second. That's everyone. That's great to hear.
Taylor, well, tell the listener who you, for the first time, invited into the process, something we have intentionally forbidden up till now. To tell them a little bit about who you are and what your deal is.
Wow. Hi. I'm Taylor Moore. You might know me from producing and being in such incredible podcasts as the hit podcast, Oh, These Those Stars of Space, or Fun City, or perhaps Rude Tales of Magic.
I just gotta say, I listened to the first... I don't listen to many other podcasts because, like, my brain is already podcasted. I listened to the first few episodes of Rude Tales of Magic. Like,
yeah, fuck you. Like, how dare you? It's funny.
There's nothing that's made me madder at its quality. It's just like, fuck! God, this is out there. This is...
Yeah. This is... Great job, by the way, but eat shit.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And that's good. I'm glad to hear this. We are shooting for anger. We're an accelerationist podcast, and we are hoping to create a sort of purge-like scenario where all crime will be legal for X amount of time, TBD later.
Yeah, and as a... and really the end result of all comedians, if you look at their career over long enough, anyone who does comedy, eventually they become like bitter, angry agents of vengeance. And I'm on that road.
Yeah, you get out all the joy in your 20s and 30s, and then you just settle into sort of a racist, famous man who still has to drive around in the flyover states talking to people at Chuckle Shucks. It's the business. Welcome, fellas.
Yeah, we're really good at business, and we will appreciate all of your tips.
Number one, get to know the Chuckle Shucks right now.
Oh God,
build those relationships.
I've spent my 20s and 30s sending them emails about how they're stupid. Oh no.
So you have managed to take podcasting, an inherently evil thing, and you've turned it into like a career that, as far as I can tell, has not drained you of all of your mana. Like, you're not just like a skeleton guy. So like, what's that like?
Well, my secret is prescription amphetamines.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Which I believe should be over the counter and maybe even forcibly administered. We should put them in all the Huel and the Big Macs, whatever America's eating these days. So several years ago, I started a little podcast company. We have 3 shows now, one of which you have heard of, which I'm humbled and honored by. And yeah, it's wild. I used to work at a company, a technology website company called Kickstarter, and I got canned. And then
probably for a real normal reason.
Yeah,
it was
right.
a super
probably for
normal...
like being bad at your job, right?
Yeah.
In a way. You're not wrong, which I'm happy to circle back to.
We'll do that. We'll talk about that later.
But yeah, it's wild. So I run Fortune Horse, which makes these shows. And I can't say many details, but we've got a really big honking thing launching in the fall, hopefully, as well. But yeah, it's wild.
2 guys to be saying bits like a guest guy, like the Rude Tales crew is walking around. They're like, who are those 2 guys standing next to each other? Let's listen to them do bits for 1 minute and then move on. Like, we're ready.
This is okay. So there's a fantastic history of this in entertainment, but it's usually bands. So what we can do is we can bring you on, like a show will bring on, like Full House would bring on the Beach Boys. There's a very wonderful episode of Monk that brings on a Slipknot.
No!
Yes. There's an episode of Monk where there's a traffic jam, and one of the vehicles in the traffic jam is the tour bus of Slipknot, and I think there's a murder in the traffic jam. I don't know, but
Monk would be so put off by their slovenly look.
Those are two tastes that don't go together.
He's terrified, and because they're so scary, obviously they're suspects in the murder.
Of course. Did they do it? Did they
No,
do
they
it?
didn't do it. No. No, it turns out that Slipknot's cool, as every band and every TV show is. I think the first time I really noticed this was when Violent Femmes was on Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Uh-huh.
Well, I don't know. To people who are my age of stone, rock, geological old, that was a very funny thing that happened.
I will. Okay, I'm racking my brain. The only musician guest spot where they don't come off as like cool and the best, it's got to be Johnny Cash on Columbo, because he's both the murderer and a pedophile.
I did not know this.
Yeah. Oh, he's great. Like Columbo's whole deal is that like the murderers are all like the greatest character actors of the 70s, just like really sinking their teeth into an incredible role, just like becoming the biggest asshole they possibly can, having a great time. And like you think Johnny Cash, like stunt casting, he's gonna be not so good. Like he's incredible. He's one of the best ones. The performance, mwah.
I wouldn't have taken that role knowing what you just said about it.
What part of it specifically would you bristle against?
The musician part? That's
Oh, you want me to play a pedophile? I'm in. Wait, he's a musician? I don't touch keyboards.
Yeah.
I've never seen an episode of Columbo, but now, I mean, everyone loves it. I got to see it, but I really want to. I cannot believe, Johnny, like, that would never happen these days, I don't think. That, like, a musician would come on and their manager would let them play a pedophile.
It's like one of those
Yes.
things where it's like it's he, you know, his ex-wife was 14 and like he's given music lessons to a 15-year-old who he like mentions is like you're real purty before she leaves, and it's like I guess in the 70s like people just did that sometimes. Like Jerry Lee Lewis married a 13-year-old. They just did that sometimes, and they like. I guess they don't say it is pedophilia. I'm sorry, folks, it is. That's the facts. I'm looking at the dictionary, and it says that right there next to the word. Like, it's not like the main point is what I'm saying. It's just like a background detail that this guy's always marrying 14-year-olds.
At the time, it was a background detail. Now,
Yes.
with the hindsight of social progress, we can look back and say, oh, it's terrifying.
Yeah,
yeah,
of course.
It feels like a spotlight detail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoops.
Columbo is just the best shit because it's like so dumb. Every episode is exactly the same. It starts with a murder. The murderer says, I've devised the perfect crime. Things will never get bad or fucked up for me. And then like Columbo shows up looking like a big shambling hog.
Yeah, eating like hard-boiled eggs out of his pockets.
Yeah, he doesn't even take the shell off. No, he does. It would be so funny if he did.
And then he just emits a pellet of the bones and shells of the food at the end of the episode.
Yeah, he emits an owl pellet, which causes the rich murderer to become put off, and their discomfort causes them to let loose a clue. It's so good. It's dumb as fuck. It's my favorite show. It's not my favorite show. It's just really good.
But yeah, we should start bringing podcasts on like musicians onto Rude Tales. Just have you come on, say, we do anything for our fans, and then leave.
You help us put on like a charity live show.
Yes. Oh no, we're gonna do a charity live show, but then the guys from Pod Save America get hit by a helicopter crash, and then we're like, who's gonna do it? And then you guys
Max
just happen-
Landis did the helicopter crash like father, like son.
Well, you know, trauma repeats itself in a vicious cycle.
Yes, exactly.
But there you are in the deli across the street.
This is incredible. I think this has got this. I already have the contract right now. I'm signing it.
Yeah.
It says you own my likeness now.
We would be
John
T-posing
Harrison's IP,
the whole time,
Unfortunate
to be
Horse.
clear.
The best pose.
We love it. It's why would you put your arms in another configuration?
Because you're tired from the T-pose and you got to get right back to it.
Well, the goal is to get strong enough that you're never tired.
Yeah, your T-pose needs to be crisp and perfect. No movement ever.
Young Jesus painting 2 fences.
Yes.
Preparing.
Painting 2 fences.
In an alley, a very narrow alley in Judea.
I gotta ask you. I have to ask you this question. Now,
me,
you
Daddy.
knew it was coming. And we all know the end. At this point, the chances that any of our fucking guests would say no. Back in the day, some of our guests would say no because we would have people on who like didn't know about or gave a shit about anime sickos, which has not been the case for a long time. However, precedent must hold. Are you an anime sicko?
To my core, to the marrow of my bones, I have a visual aid. Podcast gold.
Oh yeah.
Wow, it's incredible. Beautiful.
There's rummaging.
I bought a centrifuge on eBay,
No fucking way.
which is actually the Capsule brand, which is this, of course, this is the company from Dragon Ball Z that actually exists as a technology brand, and I keep it on my desk because it looks like a house from Dragon Ball Z.
Like, that looks like where Bulma lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it says Capsule in the font on it.
And it's got a subtitle of Tomy.
Yeah.
That's my name wrong.
Yeah.
Wow.
And if I ever need a centrifuge, there it is.
They really don't make them like that anymore. They don't
really
make
don't.
shit that looks like dumb and dumb and like a cartoon no more.
They don't. To describe it for the listener, I'm cool.
Yeah. I mean, what can you say? Speaking of anime and sickodom, this provides a seamless transition into Taylor. You asked us to, and we were delighted to comply, to watch the Satoshi Kon all-time classic film Paprika. I had seen it before. Joe, I believe this is your first time watching Paprika.
Yes, I've seen a lot of his other anime films. This was a blind spot. It kicked ass. It kicked ass. It was a visual treat because it's all based on dreams, which is just freewheeling, like, let's get nutty with it with some of the stuff. But
If you watch any YouTube video about like some guy who went to film school, they'll be like, Satoshi Kon's editing is quite good and very inventive, something that only could exist in the realm of animation, because trying to recreate these with the physical camera, it simply couldn't be done. That's how
really,
YouTube videos are.
He's really big on transitions. Like he loves these really weird transitions and the seamless scene changes. And as a dumb guy, every time I see one, I'm like, it's like Mr. Show. But that's just because I'm dumb.
And yeah, you're saying that like people couldn't try to replicate it, but people have, and you can't watch this movie these days without seeing Inception. Like Christopher Nolan took this entire movie, like even down to like some really like very specific details, and used the entire movie as like an inspiration board for Inception.
It really, like, can you think of a movie that aged more poorly than Inception? That was like the shit. I loved
Song of
it.
the South.
Fuck
But maybe
He's
that
right, though.
maybe Tom thinks that's fine. I don't know.
Yeah. Shut up. But like, yeah, Inception was like the hot shit. Now everyone thinks that's lame. Correctly, it is lame. Part of what's so different about Paprika and like more good, in addition to just it being animated so it like looks cooler than the Nolan style, which is like, what if someone filmed inside of your freezer?
Yeah.
Also, like, it's a movie about dreams, and the structure of the movie and also the plot is also like a dream. Like, there is a scientific giga. There's like a MacGuffin that does the brain science that makes the dream stuff happen. And it's given 0 seconds of technobabble and explanation, whereas that's like all of what Inception is. It's like, here are the rules, and they cannot be broken ever.
Yeah.
They won't be. Paprika is just like, it will be nut. That's it.
The only thing they talk about, like, science-wise, is they say, I think about twice, yeah, there is no password on this thing.
Yeah, there's a moment in like the end of the first act where they're like, you didn't put a code or a password on this? What were you thinking? And it's never addressed again.
Yeah, it's just like, so what you're saying is someone gets this little nonsense, this little thingy they put on their head, and they can go into any person's dream effortlessly. And it's like, yeah. Is that bad? And it's like, yeah, it's quite bad.
Whoops, we did a whoopsie. Yeah, so it is masterfully done. And what Satoshi Kon understands is that the technology doesn't fucking matter. That all you gotta like. So I'm just gonna. Like, how much plot do we want to talk about?
All of it.
Okay, great.
SNL and Anime Sickos says that we will spoil every fucking thing.
Great.
If you don't like it, log off.
Sure. So, nutshell, 20-second version of this movie is somebody makes a device where you can go inside someone's dreams. The device is very powerful and gets more powerful, and it quickly becomes the case that, like, you can broadcast yourself into people's dreams if they're not connected to the machine, and then it's like Wi-Fi. It's like dream spread Wi-Fi, and there's one person behind it who's, like, drawing everyone into this, wild, big parade, colorful delusion, and it rules. And what the film understands is that you just need to get the audience to the point of understanding. Well, people are getting their dreams mixed up now, and the shortest path to get to that place is all you need, and then after that, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like,
also like how do you escalate it? It's just you have someone say, "Oh, it's happening now. We're awake now, but it's still happening." It's like, okay, yeah. I get that.
Yep.
Now the dream's
totally.
real.
Because
we're awake, and the brave little toaster parade is happening still.
Yes! That parade is one of my favorite things in any movie. I love the Paprika parade. It's so good.
I love the like the leader of the parade is always this same refrigerator with I forget what it has on top of it. It has like some other appliance on top of it. And like the parade has all types of things. It has like the Statue of Liberty. It has like torii gates from Japan from like the shrines. It has a bunch of like Japanese dolls and like a palanquin, or I don't know how you pronounce that, where kings go. But the leader, and it's always getting bigger, but the leader is always just a fucking refrigerator opening its door and closing it.
God, I guess if we're going to go through the plot, I don't want to jump ahead, but one of my favorite scenes, and I love it so much, is the first time you see an awake person go from just like standing up talking with their colleagues, so there's the chief of this like little tech sector that made this device. Someone stole it, they're troubleshooting, and they're in an office talking, and he just starts like saying something a little odd, and at first you're like, oh, the translation is like, that's an idiom I don't know. And this is a rare example where I think that being a translated film helps the moment of the film, because for a little bit longer you think you're the viewer, you are the problem, you don't understand what's going on. And then it becomes clear that he's just like incoherently babbling like you would see in a person who's having a stroke on camera. I love that scene so much. And
he's walking around doing beat poetry, like, to himself.
Yeah. And then the words he's describing becomes this like river of surreal babbling. And then he joins the parade, and the parade is this, like, it is the depiction of like the things he was saying. And that little refrigerator with like a saxophone in it is there. Ooh, baby, I love it.
It's so good. Hell yeah.
But so the reason I suggested this movie is because of Corpse Brain.
Aha.
Okay.
Give me the pitch.
I have not stopped thinking about Corpse Brain since I listened to the Corpse Brain episode, and I was thinking about anime. And I love Memories, the anthology movie. I think y'all have talked about before, right?
Yeah. I only made Joe watch Cannon Fodder, which is the last
Fascism Town.
Yeah,
the story.
Yeah. It's capitalism. It's gun world, the one we live in.
But
the first one
is about these astronauts find the space station, and like they don't know what's going on in there, and they go in, and it's this beautiful recreation of like late 20th century, and it's beautiful. There's roses and I don't know, fucking gondolas and palanquins and it's just beautiful, roses everywhere.
It's a beautiful mansion.
Oh, it's a beautiful mansion. And so this is make any sense. And it turns out that it is all this like hologram projection of this one person's memories living the final like good moments of their best lives before things went to shit and, you know, she lost her boyfriend or whatever. Or no, it's, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't matter.
I think he like leaves her. He betrays her.
Yeah,
she is wrong.
But it's the same thing, right? And this is the same director, right? Who I didn't know before you pointed out that it's the same guy that did Paprika.
I think it was his first sort of big production where he was director, like he was the director alone.
And I
was Magnetic Rose.
And I realized that these are movies about corpse brain, and that was feeling very much the same vibe of, because there's this scene, right? The scene where the chief is talking and then starts to babbling, and then it, as you watch, becomes subsumed into this surreal mind palace that then literally puts him flat on a table unconscious. Right? And it's like, and later in the movie, in Paprika, you see these scientists who worked on the project are doing the same thing. They're like covered in keyboards and cables, and they're walking through the hallways of their office, just babbling this stuff, grins on their face, and they both just walk out a window. And then you see
they're saying, "Remember to vote."
There's right? Yes.
As they hit one person with a broom.
Yes. But it's like, that's what it is. It's like, the reason that Paprika works so well, that you don't need the technobabble, is because we already feel that we are in some way caught up in a dream that we cannot escape, and that other people around us are being subsumed into this weird, surreal world where they're talking and they think they're making sense, but it looks completely insane to people on the outside. And now they're just flat corpse brain on a table, unable to move or do anything.
Yeah, they're just the weird people at work. Like when they're having the two scientists that then jump out the window.
Yeah.
The onlooking like fellow crew members of the scientists is very good, because it's just like, wow, they're weird.
And also, let's go even further. It sort of indicated that if you are like caught in this dream parade, which is like a conglomeration of like too many dreams. It's like a big katamari of dreams that's just getting bigger and bigger. If you're caught up in it for too long, your brain goes like, you can't wake up ever. If you do wake up, you'll just be a coma guy who has to get drip fed forever.
Yeah, it's. I think the movie says their subconscious is erased.
Yeah, and that's, again, if you think that they're gonna indict Trump, you're them. That's you. You're in the dream.
You're in the hive
parade.
mind too long.
Yeah, you're one of the few, like, and there's this great scene in the climax of the movie that I fucking love, because you think it's over. Into the second act, you think the movie's over, because they go in the dream, they rescue the big handsome cop who's wearing the same cut of suit Chris Nolan used in Inception. Even like the lapel shape the guy took. It's great. Anyway, he saves the woman, they get out, they escape the dream, they discover who's behind the dream delusion, everything's fine, and then the dream begins like major broadcast across the city, and everyone can't tell the difference between dream and reality, and the movie's moving between the two. And the parade is passing, and everyone's just like, oh, we're so happy, nothing's bad, and they're turning into refrigerators and frogs and dolls.
And the ultimate bad guy is just their boss.
Yeah.
Like he's basically the problem.
He has the very funniest of motivations, which is just like, I don't like that you made this dream machine. Dreams should be respected more. I will simply, you know how I can prevent anyone from disrespecting dreams? I will become their king. Hee hee, hoo, and then I will win. Fuck, what a good movie. Also, I think another thing about Paprika that makes it so much better than Inception, and why it needs to be a cartoon, is that one of the things about dreams is that you just show up places and you're just like, I'm here now, and that's and like you don't ask, you're just like, I'm here now, this is happening. In like Inception, because it's live action and shot very like formally, they can't do that. They have to like walk everywhere. In Paprika, that like half the movie, half the reason you watch is to like watch someone skating by with a t-shirt that has a picture on it, and then Paprika jumps into the t-shirt, and then the guy skates to another place, and like she jumps out of the t-shirt into like a car that's driving by. Now she's driving the car. And it's like, what the fuck?
It's genius. Yeah. The movie understands everything, and Inception really doesn't understand anything, right? Because Inception, that movie is set in dreams, so you can do these big special effect action sequences that wouldn't make sense in our world. But Paprika is about dreams because it is about dreams. It is about images and the subconscious, and how we are now. We live our lives on the level of fake images and dreams. We are living in the dream world now. And so when the dream climax happens, people will jump in an image and then jump out of that image depiction elsewhere, because the movie understands that's how we feel about the world now.
My favorite image jumping is when they do a location change, when they Super Mario jump into a TV, and then they get spit out of a camera guy's camera that on scene somewhere else, and it's just amazing. And it's done so quickly. It's bored that it's doing it. That's everything this movie does. It's doing it as if it's not impressive. It's just I'm doing this.
There's people will say, and I don't know how true it is, but the big rotating hallway set piece from Inception, it's it was lifted from Paprika, because in one bit she runs on the side of a hallway for a bit, and maybe, I mean, you could argue that. I'm certain there's no hard evidence that you could ever find to prove it. However, what's interesting is that the fucking rotating hallway set piece in Inception is stop and watch this, folks.
Yes.
In Paprika, it's 10 frames of her running on the wall.
Yeah.
And it's just she can do that. Why not? It's a dream.
It has so many other cool things to show you. You don't have to sit and wait and take in one of them.
You know what I think is is a great sign that you're in for some real shit when it comes to anime and Japanese media, and probably all media, but I can't think of any examples that aren't Japanese, is when we stop the movie or whatever and just sit down and talk about film theory. Because that happens in every single one of Chainsaw Man authors' mangas. Is let's stop the plot and sit down and talk about why we love the line of action, folks. And this happens in Paprika too. And it's could you not say that a film is a type of dream, a shared dream?
Yeah, we should say that. God, this movie really knows how to have a good time and not apologize for it, because the main hero's conflict is that he's scared of movies.
Yes. Yes.
It's a policeman who's scared to watch a movie.
Because he was too into them at one point, right? Yeah, he was a super fan.
You know what it would, Joe, you know what it would be like? Is if I quit Anime Sickos to become a cop, and then when I'm 50, someone's
cannot listen to podcasts.
Do you want to listen to a podcast? I'm no, not podcasts. Because the whole thing is he had a homie who he made movies with, but then he stopped, and now he's sad.
He has a line at the beginning of the movie, I'll never watch another movie. Incredible.
I also love that in the dream scene where he is in the theater talking about film techniques with Paprika. He's got the beret and sunglasses.
Yeah.
He looks like a director. It's so funny.
He's wearing a hat that Kurosawa was isn't he's wearing I think I've seen pictures of Kurosawa wearing that little hat. That's the English or American director has jodhpurs and a beret. Why jodhpurs got associated with directors, I don't know. But I think that there's also a Japanese of this is what Japanese directors wear. It's the aviators and the little cap.
Yo, I just looked up Akira Kurosawa on Google Images, and he be wearing that hat.
Yeah.
there's no two ways about it. That's that hat.
I love that there's directors' hats in every culture, like how a cow says different things.
You can't get away from having a little hat. And this is not exactly anime, but I think part of the reason why Hideo Kojima is such a beloved auteur is that especially in a genre like video games where people are so obsessed with their lore and to try to take it so seriously, is that he will just every single day of his life be logging onto Twitter and being Paddington 2 is a great time for the whole family.
Yes, absolutely. You don't get the sense that he ever plays video games, which is probably for the best.
Yeah, video games suck, dude.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So what did you guys think of the actual final climax of the film? The kaiju, the spirit kaiju fight.
Yes, so I'll try to describe what the final thing is real quick and tell me if I'm on track here. Paprika and the big scientist guy who created this device basically do a soul merge, right? Mm-hmm. And then they vor everything. Is that it? Yeah.
That is how I interpret it, yeah.
Yeah, and then the director is also there. He's like an Attack on Titan guy now. He's like big, and he's at that point he's so excited that he's like God, and then he gets eaten completely.
Yeah. My take was, I don't really get it, but it's a dream, whatever. This happens in dreams.
Yeah, I think it was something about the feminine and the masculine. The movie definitely has opinions about men.
Yeah, if I gotta say the one thing I do not like about this movie is that, and this is easy to, edit out of my brain because it's like a second. But at the very end, it's announced that the doctor who is Paprika, she sort of has an alter ego of like a dream superhero, Paprika.
A literal manic pixie dream girl.
Yes.
yes.
But that doctor says that she married the inventor of the dream machine. And it just says it like in text, like you don't see them married. And here's the thing. Throughout the entire film, every single time anybody talks about the inventor, they're like, he's a child. He has a child.
This is a man-child.
Like, yes. He has no maturity. He is simply a child. The only thing that keeps him from being the same as a child is that he has lived for more years and has more scientific knowledge. Aside from that, may as well be an 8-year-old. Everyone agrees with this, and no one has an opposing view. He hears it and is like, yup.
Yeah.
That relationship will not last. Sorry.
She also, like is always negging him, like, constantly, and not even like she's very mean. She's very mean.
I mean, and it's rightly so, because he didn't make you have to put a password in to use the dream weapon.
Yeah,
but I guess they combine spirits in the dream world. It's like once you do that, once you station in the dream town, you stationed. Yeah. Get stationed in the real life.
Maybe. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like the fact that the plot doesn't super like hold together 100% tight is who cares?
Who
cares?
Who cares?
If you're the kind of guy who's gonna knock this movie for that, it's like what are we doing here? Like,
no.
Why would you watch a movie?
I think that, like, if you feel that you are in a world that makes no sense and that you seem to be caught up in in someone else's fantasy that you have no control over and cannot be changed, then you should watch this movie. It feels good.
Doesn't Paranoia Agent kind of end in sort of a similar, like, there's a bunch of chaos leaking into a town and there's destruction and it's like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, it's the same sort of thing where it's collective paranoia is manifesting physically, and like all humans are sharing the same like horrible visions like in reality. Yeah. I mean, it's a good theme, especially if you're a fucking animator, because you can draw some wild shit.
Oh, to draw a dream?
Taylor, you made a insinuation that you are involved in some sort of going.
Let's not talk about the island.
Yeah, the island.
Let's not talk about the island.
So we were both on Oceanic Flight A15. No, okay. You were employed at the tech
not the
site.
Island. Oh, what? Go ahead.
Kickstarter.
Yes.
You were fired again for incompetence, and that's the end of the story, right? Like, there's no more.
And you're very sorry.
Yeah, when stuff got funded, like, you would steal the money and like take it for yourself. Like, I skimmed the article. So if that's not right, if you took most of the money, set me straight. This is your opportunity. Set me straight. What happened?
Yeah, a lot of times creators would be trying to ship their smartwatches to backers, and I would go to the post office and knock it out of the mailman's hand, just because it's fun, and I like the sound it makes when it breaks on the floor. So I got fired from Kickstarter for starting a union. And this is extremely relevant now because the union has been in contract negotiations for 2 years, coming up on 3, and just yesterday announced they had come to a conclusion of that. They have negotiated. Now, the contract has still got to be ratified by the union members, but the negotiations are done. They have ended their endless meetings with Kickstarter management. So, yeah, this is what happened. So I used to work at Kickstarter, and I started a union there, and then they fired me for it.
That sounds about right.
This is another corpse brain thing. People will be like, they can't fire you for starting or talking about unions. Like, yeah, they can. It's like really easy.
Yeah.
They just don't write it on the form.
No, rules is corpse brain. They're not real. This is great because this is what you realize when you're making a union, and part of this is like what you have to realize before you start is that there's no such thing as rules. That's fake. It's fake. It's fake. It's fake. The only thing that exists is power. And the only way you can ever have any power against someone that has more money is by having more people. And that's literally what a union is getting enough people together to act as one so that you can be as powerful as someone who has a lot of money.
Yeah, we in the one episode you haven't heard that's in the can that's not released yet at the time of recording. Our cold open is we define power as the ability to have other people agree that what you're doing is normal. And like, it's fitting. Like, that's what you're explaining. It's like, yeah, it checks out.
Yeah. I mean, that's
like
it.
us having a job where we are able to take a stand against Nazis, that's normal. And your boss is like, it's not normal, but like, oh, the union says it's normal. I guess it's normal.
So I'm glad you brought up Nazis because that's kind of how it started. So, do you remember back when?
I don't remember shit, dude, about anything.
I know you remember this. Remember when the
Every
Nazis?
day is new.
Every day. This little plastic castle. This was not here before. This is great. There's a castle here now. This is fantastic. I don't mind the bowl. This is a nice bowl. Look, they just put a castle in.
I must be a king. Oh shit.
That's a good life.
Yeah.
Put me in the frog parade. Anyway, so do you remember back when the Nazis were doing a thing where they were trying to get quote unquote like liberals fired from Disney movies and Netflix and all that stuff? Yeah.
I think they're still doing that.
They're still doing it, but they had just figured it out. I think they got the guy fired off of Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, remember that?
Okay, yes. Now, yeah.
Yeah. So that sort of eye of internet Nazi Sauron sort of turned to Kickstarter, and they got mad at us for a project that we had up, and all the Nazis wanted us to cancel the project, and then the management sided with the Nazis.
That's this tale as old as time, baby.
Tale as old as time, because let me tell you something. If you want to be a big boss, you're probably the kind of person who...
like they looked at the balance sheet and they were like, oh.
I don't even know if it was about money, but I mean, look, I hate to bring it up again, but I'm sorry, it's a powerful idea. Shame on you for coining the phrase. It's corpse brain. I mean, there were rules written in a Microsoft Word document about what's allowed, and technically you could say the project was against the rules in a certain way. And so because the rules said it, that's what they claimed, that was their reasoning to do it. The rules say this, so we got to do it. And the staff was like, no, please don't. This is terrible. Yeah, don't side with the Nazis. There's
no boss, even if there was a non-sympathetic to the Nazis boss in a fantasy world where such a person existed, like no boss is ever smart enough to understand, like to actually like do the weighing against each other of like giving the Nazis a clear win versus following a rule we made up a year ago.
And
for
what management
ourselves, not even an external rule.
I'm sorry, the parliamentarian says we have to let the Nazis win.
And what management probably wants more than anything is just for there to be no problem.
Exactly. They don't want to have a meeting.
Yeah.
Fuck. Well, okay, I'm with them on that. Meetings suck.
They want to call meetings, right? They don't want anyone else calling a meeting. So there was a person on the team on one of the teams that heard that management was going to make that decision, and they went in the company Slack. They just told everybody, like, hey, they're going to side with the Nazis, which was not against the rules to say that. Just, people who are on teams would regularly tell the company what they were up to and what decisions had been reached. And
so because of that, this person, because they didn't break any rules, they faced no consequences, I assume.
They were celebrated.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Why, yes, to us, management, what you did is uncomfortable, but, congratulations on doing the right thing, and we're going to give you a raise. No, they fired her!
Oh!
They fucking fired her! They fired her, and so that was it. It's like
how fast?
Within the next 2 weeks. So they waited so that it wasn't...
Jesus Christ!
Yeah. And so when that happened, it was... I went to my little studio and I had an index card and I wrote down all the names of people that might be down to organize something, like the real hard cases that I suspected might be down for that sort of thing. And I just started having like little coffee chats with them, having a lunch, have a dinner, have a drink after work, and then that one ally turned into 8, and then they start having those meetings, and 8 turned into 16, and 16 turned, and that process took 2 years. And then eventually management, people found out. They found out we were unionizing, and there's a very, so I want to talk about 2 things because I want you. I think they're interesting, and I want more people to know about stuff like this. One is, and I think you'll appreciate this as the cultural philosophers that you are. At one point, we decided to bring on like a real big union who, has infrastructure and lawyers and knows how to do this to help us out. So we did, and one thing that they came in and they said, "Hey, look." First of all, you should understand, we thought it was going to be a cakewalk. We thought progressive, hip. We're not like Silicon Valley. We're in Brooklyn. Hey, we're hip. We're cool. We're progressive. Oh,
no fascists in Brooklyn.
People of color, give us more. Queers, yes, please. Bring it on. Yeah, we're taking the middleman, the gatekeepers down. Of course, the company will love a union. They'll appreciate it. The big union comes in, they say, "Hey, look, you need to know a couple things. Number one, management's going to fight you tooth and nail." It's never the case that they don't. It happens so rare, you got to prepare for that. Number 2, here's what you are going to find. You are going to find that 30% of the company is going to be easy to organize. They're going to sign that union card immediately. They're going to come on. They're going to join you right out of the gate, easy. 30% are going to be tougher. Like the middle percent's going to be tough. They're going to be swayable by either you or the other 30% on the other end. They're going to be die-hard pro-management.
They're up for grabs, though.
But the middle's up for grabs. And ultimately, you're fighting over that middle third. And we said, no fucking way. There's no way 30% of this company is going to side with management. Y'all, when we got done talking to everybody and did the math, they were correct down to a decimal place.
Holy shit.
Okay, this is something that I do want to know, and that I've been curious about as there's sort of been this wave of unionization news, which is like, what the fuck is going on in the brains of these fucking zombie people who are like, I love my boss. Like, what? Like, surely they must think that they have a coherent explanation for their actions. What is it?
Can you tell us, like, because every management in that situation is going to, like, deploy their propaganda, right?
Sure.
Like, about why it's not a good idea. Do you have any examples of what they were trying to hit that middle third with?
Oh, baby. Yeah, I got a good one. This is the other thing I wanted to mention because, God, it makes me laugh still to this day. So there's all there's the classics, right? There's the classic stuff that people have been saying about unions since the 30s, you know? One, you don't want a third party coming in to ruin our great two-way relationship.
Yeah, everything is so good and direct now, you know.
Meanwhile, management has they will hire a law firm to do whatever. They will hire a law firm to fuck you for fun. You know, they'll hire a third, they don't care. They'll hire fucking assassins. You know, like the
the Pinkertons will show up.
The Pinkertons will show. Thank God they don't do this anymore. Although yet, I mean, Amazon did have the cops try to put the unionizers in jail. So there's that, like they will try to kidnap you and put you in a room away from your family. But they used to, lock the dance hall and set it on fire. But all these things. But now it's just like, oh, you don't want a third party, or you might lose some benefits in the new union contract, which is horseshit. If the contract is bad, don't ratify it. It's up to you.
Yes.
But there's a new thing, right? There's a new thing now. And the problem is that we've sort of defined morality in the realm of this abstract linguistic action rather than the actual material harm and benefit done to other human beings. So you can use woke language as a weapon of any side, anything.
Absolutely.
So what they did was they got 3 bootlickers. They got these 3 people who were what we call the No Committee. They were on management side, and they wrote an open letter. And I've got some quotes here. They sent it to the whole company, and it made it out to the press. And I really encourage you to go and if you just search Kickstarter anti-union letter, it's the first result. They wrote an open letter accusing us of appropriating union culture.
Oh my God.
But you want a union.
Wait. Are they saying union is a protected class?
Yes.
And that you're not them?
Correct.
That's not even. I think of cynical shit a lot just for fun. I'm like, let's get in my head and think about evil, and that would never occur to me to sort of try that line.
If you love thinking about evil, start a union. It's great.
Yeah.
You will never have more time to sit around and theorize about what the evil people are going to do. So they said we were appropriating union culture, that
oh my God,
that things are not bad enough to resort to something as quote extreme as a union.
What's extreme about a union?
What's bad enough?
Yeah. Nazis are not bad enough. What are you waiting on? Orcs?
Yeah.
The Uruk-hai are here. Now it makes sense. We should get a lawyer.
They can cover great distance at speed, even in daylight.
Yeah. There's a wave of nano gray goo in Asia that's coming for the Western Hemisphere. We might want to get a lawyer. They also said that forming, this is a direct quote, I swear to God, forming a union is a great tool, for marginalized workers. So that kind of shit,
the thing is, it is, and
this reminds me of when we've given up on a conversation about Medicare for all because it's just fascism forever, but there was a line that was said at the time, which is if you get rid of the private health insurance industry, there's a lot of workers of color who would be out of a job. And it's that level of cynicism deployed is so disgusting.
Yeah. Unions are historically intended to protect vulnerable members of society. And we feel the demographics of this union undermine this important function, which is a way of saying you're racist for wanting to start a union.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's what this is a new thing, this is a new 21st century union busting technique, is they try to make it seem like the union is actually being unfair.
Okay. So this just comes back to my.
Oh, by the way,
question.
hold on. I got to tell you this because this is an incredible footnote. Lindsay Howard, the author of this, one of the 3, the ringleader of the No Committee, this letter, can you guess what she does now?
Pinkertons.
Nope.
Writes YA novels.
Oh, nope. But very good guess. One more guess. Imagine the worst person online.
Executioner.
No, NFT broker. She sells NFTs.
Okay. Does she tell people when their apes are stolen?
I don't know.
Dude, okay.
But she got in early, so she's rich.
This brings me to, of course she is. Anyone with that shit in their soul is rich or will be soon. So this brings me to the question that I originally had, and maybe there just is no getting into the brains of these orcs.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't stop thinking Joseph Executioner. Imagining
that would be really bad.
The LinkedIn page for
I just escalated it a little,
Yeah, she's Gyro Zeppeli. No, Gyro is cool. He doesn't like executioning. Anywho, like what that letter is. You cannot, no reasonable person can believe that is a good faith summary of their actual beliefs. This is transparently just, we're trying little tricks. We're doing rhetorical tricks because we think there are some rubes dumb enough to be tricked by this. What is the actual justification for is it just like, I will lick the boot because I want to put the boot on? Is that all it is?
That's a really great question. That's sort of the same question as, how was the Union able to predict with such mathematical accuracy the 33, 33,
Yes.
33 breakdown? How'd they know? How in the world can you look at a group of a random 110 or 120, it was a pretty small company, 120 people or something like that. How can you look at that and know, 40 of those people are going to be pro-management? How? And, we talked about this endlessly. Why are they doing this? What's wrong with them? Because here's the thing, and this is what a lot of the libertarian Silicon Valley people aren't folding into their worldview when they push against it. It's it's a good deal for you. It is a mathematically,
Yes.
it is a good business decision, in the same way that negotiating for more money from a rich person who you're working for is a good decision on your part. You can negotiate for even better stuff if you do it with more people, and the more people you have with you, the better the deal is.
Yeah.
And any contract that you're beholden to, you can democratically work within the union to change it and have it renegotiated. That's it's a good business. It's a financial, even if you're a total libertarian capitalist, it's a good call. It's a good thing that workers should do. So
You take home more money. Period.
So why are people against it? Well, it's obvious why management's against it, right? Because they believe they will make less money personally with it. And yet that's not the case. It's not the case, because Starbucks is trying to shut down the Starbucks in Ithaca, New York, that was the first to unionize. They announced they're shutting down the cafe. So wait a minute. Even with a union, that store would have been profitable. That is a black line on a spreadsheet.
It's because the control is worth more than the revenue.
Yep. And the guy who bought, what was the sports blog site? They unionized. He shut it down entirely. So he would...
Deadspin.
Yes. So why do they do this?
That.
Why do they do this? It's got nothing to fucking do with money. It's got nothing to do with money. There's just a kind of person who just wants to dominate, and a person who wants to love those who dominate. And some of those people on the No Committee, they want to be managers, and so they want the manager to like them, so they get brought up into the management class. But
And they would hate it to be, when they finally get the prestige class of management, it's we took some of your skills away. It's I loved watching those skills get used. I wanted to use the ultimate also, but now I can't. Yeah, okay.
And there's just monarchists. There's just people who want a queen and a king, and that's just what they want in life.
There is also, I don't know if this was the case in your efforts, but I've certainly talked to people who are anti-union, and this doesn't make sense, but I'm going to sort of phrase it. Basically, what they're actually saying is doing anything not as an individual is cheating somehow. There's this belief that it has to be. And I'm serious.
Yeah.
I think that's where the common line of unions reward lazy workers and stuff like that, as if that's not true. Because why would your fucking union want someone who sucks and is not helping? Because they are, it doesn't make sense. And it really seems like there is something in some people's mind that it doesn't count unless you do it solo.
It's the sick American Puritan individualism impulse that makes people keep their emotions in their entire lives and live disgusting husks of existences.
Yeah.
It's that same thing. It's I got it. It's, you just got to figure it out. You got to, this is America works. First thing we all agree on. Everything still works. Okay?
Yes.
We all have to agree on that, or we're not getting anywhere.
Right.
Everything still works. Nothing's broken. And therefore, you can make your life work if you just do it right. They feel that it is cheating. It's just
That is exactly, that is another way to say exactly what I like, where I landed after all those years of like working with this and trying to figure it out and consulting on a ton of other union drive for other people and other businesses. Like, I think management is not scared of making less money. They are scared because unions are proof that the meritocracy is fake.
Yeah. Yeah.
And their identity, beyond money, their sense of self depends on the meritocracy, the machine, being true.
Yes. It being correct that it gets blood. This actually is great because I remember I did see this in the article that one of the original founders of Kickstarter came back to the company and just started unilaterally doing extremely unpopular and stupid decisions that affected a lot of people.
Yeah, he's a sociopath.
Yeah. And this goes back to something that Joe coined very early on, I think even prior to the podcast, that I love. I never get tired of thinking about this, which is executive perception, which is just like a boss can see something and have their brain fundamentally decode the data wrong.
Yeah.
Like they see a toad and they're like, that's a tiger.
Because they're living in a dream.
Yes. Oh, they're Paprika guy. And the boss has to points at the toad and says, everybody, that's a tiger. Behave appropriately. And if they don't, they're fired.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what it is. I mean, like that's the dream. I mean, the corpse mind, like the corpse brain. This is all. It's like one of my favorite fables. My favorite like allegory is the emperor with no clothes. We are living in a world where the emperor is absolutely.
So many people are naked. So many people are naked.
It's really caught on.
It's the new thing. Okay. That's the thing about that fable that's not accurate. It's pretty accurate. But what would really happen is, well, actually, never mind. Only one person says the guy has no clothes. I was about to say a third of the people would say he's wearing clothes. I'm like, wait, no. The whole point of the fable is that everyone says he's wearing clothes. What the fuck? Yeah. I'm dumb as fuck, folks. I'm dumb.
After like one person like says it out loud, right? So like someone has to break the seal. And then it's like, oh, fuck, like there is another, oh, wait, right. Like it's like shaking someone awake. It's, and you can't maybe shake all the people awake. Some people are just dreamers and not the fun John Lennon kind, but the,
and
not
the kind that like get U.S. citizenship.
No, I don't need the dreamers.
Yeah. So that union math, that like 30%, 30%, 30%, that's interesting. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, but this wave of unionization that's happening at Starbucks is sort of beating that, right? Obviously, these are smaller stores.
Yes, you can beat it.
But
you can beat it in smaller stores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like I saw one that was like the vote was like 10-1, which like that's overwhelming. But also that one guy, like everyone must hate them. Like what a tool.
Yeah, that's kind of how it goes. I mean, like that's, the 30-30-30 rule is not to say that you're always going to win with 60%, 60 versus 30 vote. I mean, you can see votes much higher. And in fact, when the union won, we went down to the courthouse and they read the votes in front of everybody. And then we were just like singing, Solidarity Forever in the fucking elevator going down. We got to the lobby and took a picture. Do you know who ran up and stood in line in that picture with the organizers? Lindsay Howard, the person who wrote the Kickstarter is appropriating union culture letter.
Oh, you fucker.
You can get that 30% to come around if you demonstrate winning.
Yeah, okay.
Some people just need the success, and then that doesn't matter. Like, it's like, okay, fine.
They just want to be with the winners.
Fuck. Ooh, that's got me. I'm bubbling up.
This is why I can't. This is why I like some of the folks that were part of the union drive became professional union organizers, and they're doing great. I cannot, because I have an anger in me that is not conducive to a peaceable discussion with those folks.
Also, like if you get good enough at it, people with very deep pockets can make your life very bad.
Oh, for sure.
That's also something that I keep thinking about.
I mean, they fired me, and so three organizers got fired, and I was the only one that successfully, I made a complaint to the NLRB, which if people don't know, that's like a special government agency that's like a court system just for labor, like job stuff. And so if like, especially around union busting and like workplace safety, and so if someone busts your union, that's who you go. You don't go to like a regular court. You go to the NLRB, and they sort of act as like a filter. Like, is this real? And if it's real enough, then they'll take it to court for you. But yeah, so I made it. The NLRB. I won. I complained to the NLRB, and not like I ran up going wah wah wah. Although in my heart I was.
You were right to.
Yeah, and won. But the other two didn't. So like they'll fuck with you. But I think that the in the same this fucking internet thing,
it's bad.
It giveth and taketh away. But I do think that one small good thing about it is that there's so many eyeballs on all this stuff, and branding is so important to people's business these days that they can't get away. I mean, like, one thing that helped us win at Kickstarter was everyone paying attention and talking about it all the time.
Yeah.
Because if no one was paying attention, they would have just drowned us in the river.
Yeah. Fucking Christ.
I shouldn't have ended that anecdote on the image of me being drowned in a river.
Yeah, you're like, just so you know, if you go down this path, what awaits you is death.
No, what awaits you is you'll be explaining your union background to some fucking podcast morons, and as you're typing in the background, you receive the news that the union's recognized as a contract.
Which rules. That's great, So I'm like, yeah, they fired me, but like, won in the end, and baby, it feels great.
So I gotta ask.
Yeah.
And the chance that is low, but I gotta ask. So is there any chance the union's going to be able to make Kickstarter not talk about the blockchain so fucking much?
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think the blockchain thing's going to happen.
I mean, it clearly never was, because like when they were like, what does that actually mean? What are you going to use it for? And it's like the blockchain offers many opportunities.
You could like,
and it's just like it's nothing.
They are
so you have no plan.
That is a message directly from the Paprika parade. That is just like that is just a trombones and refrigerators with frogs coming in the daytime. The nighttime people know our boats cannot sail. Like, it is just, that is pure surreal bullshit coming directly from the top, I assume.
And also, 30% of the population is like, excuse me, are you trying to say that nighttime people do think that our boats will sail? That's absurd.
My favorite NFT blockchain nonsense when people were saying, like, completely without a sense of irony, it's like, it'll be great when I buy like a Hearthstone card and then I can just take it to a different game. And it's like, what are you saying? What are you saying?
Like, what is it going to mean for Mario to have trample? Like, what is, like, huh? In what sense will that manifest in the game? Jesus Christ.
I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I would say don't worry about it. And I would also say, too, like, I would encourage people not to issue Kickstarter because the management was anti-union at that time. First of all, they've had complete management turnover. I think only one, like, everyone who was involved in firing and meeting other organizers got canned within 6 months of that happening. And the CEO just got fucking Caesared, just got stabbed in the back by a bunch of the VPs and got pushed out of the company just recently.
He got Succession.
Yeah, he got Succession.
Succession's real.
Succession's real. And so, like, everyone who did all the union busting, except for, Perry Chen, the founder, is still there in the palanquin at the top of the frog parade. But, once they ratify that contract, they'll be the only one of the very few union shops in the biz. Nice. And you got to support
in tech,
them.
you mean?
Yeah, in tech. Well, definitely. Definitely in crowdfunding too. But yeah, one of the few union shops in tech.
Yeah.
I think there was like the only other tech union I've heard of recently that had success was like some game testers union or something to that effect happened.
Well, Raven, the company that made fucking Call of Duty.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Yeah. They got it. Good for them. I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, video game workers. Here's another thing too. It's not as much money as you think. I worked at Kickstarter for 6 years, and I was making as much as a first-year elementary school teacher. Like, it's not like a money waterfall, especially at smaller companies like that.
Teachers don't make much.
Not a ton. I mean, I wasn't starving to death, but it was just like, I'm upper class. Nowhere near it. But even if they did, rich people should have unions too. I mean, like LeBron and LeBron James and Tom Hanks and Angelina Jolie are all in a union.
I I don't know if this is union related, but just in terms of bootlickers kneecapping the power of workers that they deserve to have, I don't think I ever fully reckoned with how the NBA was going to
Oh my God. Oh
not
God.
play.
They got the call from Obama.
Oh my God.
Oh, bungler.
President Brandon Obama.
I gotta tell you, this is how my dream works. This is my Paprika parade. My brainworms at the end of oh God. Edit this out if you think this is too horrible. At the end of Paprika, when the CEO is like this giant ghost figure, I was like, that looks like Biden and Obama combined. you tell me I'm wrong. You tell me I'm wrong.
It's the face. The face is like the right height.
Yep. It looks like both. It looks like the face. It looks like a face app swap Instagram filter of those two boys.
It's like a neoliberal fusion.
Yeah, they're wearing the Potara earrings. Oh my God. I'll say it here, folks.
Feel free to take that.
I don't like that shit.
Living in the dream, man.
Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode.
So Taylor, you are a business genius, is what I'm gleaning from our discussion. And one of the things you apply this knowledge to is podcasting, which is a setup that to us is frankly absurd. Because our philosophy with Anime Sickos is to treat it as little like a business as we possibly can.
My business strategy for this is that I'm mentally ill. So it's been working out pretty good.
All right. I'm a fan of the show, and I've been listening for a while. Not forever, but I've heard, I think, almost all the episodes.
Holy moly.
Big fan. And no one's ever pressed y'all on this, I don't think. What is wrong? Like, do you fucking love your day job, you fucking idiots?
Well, here's the thing about my day job is that, and I don't know if that's as long as it's going to last, but it's been lasting for a while. I don't really do very much shit at all. like the amount of work I give in a given day is crazy low.
Are you asking that question because you think there's enough quality here that we don't need a day job?
Quality is an interesting term. That's not for me to judge, but I think I am fascinated because I worked at Kickstarter for a very long time, 6 years, been doing this for almost 3 years. So it's like, I am definitely I come from a whole career of like teaching people how to turn their thing into a way that'll pay at least for itself and maybe generate a career. But like, I only do it with people who want to do it. Like, I don't try to convince people to do it. It's like, if you want to, so I'm only around people that want to do that. And from like the smallest people with the smallest vision you can imagine up to, and I've worked with like serious hustle culture, weird, like insect drone people that talk about SEO and Facebook tracking pixels like it's their family, you know. So I guess maybe it's just I'm seeing an animal I've never seen before. And I'm amazed. I'm like a medieval like traveler's like, well, it was like a cross between a horse and a goose. You know, trying to describe a giraffe. No, taller. Yes, goose-like, but also horse. You know, and I'm just doing the best I can with a tapestry.
I mean, okay, so here's where I'm going.
But yeah,
from.
what's the deal? Because like, do you think that you couldn't turn this? Do you think you couldn't? I don't want to say make more money because here's the thing: I fucking hate money. It sucks. We should abolish it, but also gotta have it to eat. And I love mochi. I love like wine and mochi and being able to go to a swimming pool or the beach sometimes. I love those things. Can't get those without money, so I gotta get the money. And also healthcare. You know, that's a big one.
That's a big one.
Yeah, no one lets me use a toilet for free. I have to rent the toilet. You know, if you don't, you're paying the bank for the toilet. But you know. Anyway, so it's just like, do you hate work? So Just help me understand. I know that making a podcast is work. I work insane hours. I'm the worst boss I've ever had. Last year in August, I worked so much I had to go to the doctor. Like you get it. You understand me here. So like I know it's a lot of work, but wouldn't you rather work for yourself? Do you not believe there's enough quality?
See, I think that is a fundamentally flawed question. It misunderstands
Fuck yes.
what we're talking
Teach
about
me.
here. Because what is valuable to me about Anime Sickos and what allows it to be good is that it's just some shit we do. This is not even a counterexample. Like this was also just some shit I did. We have a RPG show, Shuffle Quest, which may already be back on the air by the time this comes out. If not, it's a week from now. But we used to have the Patreon for that, and it was the standard podcast Patreon page where it had many tiers, and the tiers involved little merches and gugas and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's what you got to do. And I gotta tell you, just and like, hey, this isn't even work. This isn't even like a big podcast. We were not successful. I mean, in a like a macro sense, we were successful in that we made a good product that people liked, but we didn't blow up. You know, even that, just the process of like doing the work, the chores, the homework for that was so soul sucking to me. It made me like the show less. And it made me want to do it less. And that is what I'm trying to avoid here. And this is also why, like, so many of our contemporaries of similar clout are streaming all the time. I will never stream because streaming is homework. And I do not. Anime Sickos and homework will never cross, because if it does, the show will die. Like, it won't happen anymore, and it won't be good.
I'm open to streaming if there's some way it can just not be like homework. Absolutely. Like if I don't know
there's
what
not
it
a
is
schedule
yet.
like
Yeah.
people who have a schedule, like we stream every Wednesday, and like when they don't, they're like, I'm sorry, but like I got hit by a bus. And it's like, you shouldn't have to tell anybody that you're not going to be playing video games today.
Every streamer,
video games are for you.
Every streamer I know hates it. Hates it. Not true with all the podcasters I know.
Interesting.
Because podcasting's not live. Podcasting is just yammering with your homie, which is what we're doing now, and I'm having a lovely time.
Yeah, it's great. Don't you want to do that all the time? What if you could only do that? Oh no, what if you only had to wait, no. What? Look, yes,
I'm
listen.
keeping this in.
You're gonna be chained to a cliff. The machine gets blood. You're like, we're not escaping the machine. But this part of the machine, it's a little bit nice. I don't know why I'm trying to sell you on this. I think maybe that's just like my old mechanisms kicking in. But like, I don't know. Maybe it's like I'm seeing something so cute and beautiful, I want to destroy it, like a little duckling.
Oh, like a kitten. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, and I think Joe was actually more right than he knew when he said our business plan was I'm mentally ill. Because, like... because to me, there's a value in, like... in the ability for Joe to be like, I'm fucked. Like, I'm fucked up this week. Bye-bye. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay. And I post on Twitter, no episode this week. Like,
it rules.
I feel zero guilt,
but
because it's nothing. Like, well, it's not nothing, but just like,
there's no board that's like, uh-oh.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna be like, how am I gonna pay my intern's salary if we don't put out an episode this week? It's like, what does putting out an episode this week mean? It means me and my buddy yammer with no pressure and no stakes and have a lovely time. And some people in a week from now will enjoy that happened. Like, that's so valuable to me. It enriches my life in a crazy way. And I feel like as much as like being your own boss is so much preferable to being not your own boss, working normal work, I do not want the structures of work, even a improved version, to touch my beloved Sickos.
All I was going to say, just from my perspective, like, a lot of, like, my inspiration and creativity comes from the fact that I have to do shitty stuff, and then I think dumb things while I'm doing it. So So part of me wonders, like, if this was my job, like if I was doing this only this, and I wasn't cogging, because like literally all the ideas that sort of have come from me for this show have basically occurred when I've been cogging, because I'm just trying to escape my own body. Will that inspiration go? Like, there's just like something grounding about having an actual job and also not having all your eggs in one basket a little bit, that I find comforting as well.
That's also something, like, because there have been times when, like, we've ebbed and flowed in terms of, like, ideas for the show. And it's just like, we got nothing in the tank. We can't make an episode this week, not because we don't have time, but just, like, because we can't think of something funny. And, like, like, there have been times where I'm like, maybe we take, like, I don't know, a month off. And we haven't had to do that, but, like, it's good to know that we could.
We've done that.
Because no one's... You have?
Do you know how much it affected the bottom line?
Not at all.
Goose egg, baby.
Oh my
Goose
God.
egg.
Okay, wow.
People who love you,
Okay.
they'll support you even if you gotta take a little time off.
Okay. I don't know.
Listen. I would. Am I a patron? I don't know if I am.
I think you are. I think
am?
you are.
Okay,
We
good.
shouted you out before.
Oh, good. How did I miss that? Well, that's the thing about podcasts. You never know when you're picking up dog shit and you're missing the thing that's being said because you're outside. This doesn't happen in my home. Listen, I have a normal relationship to feces. I don't do a weird feces thing on my island. Oh God, what am I talking about? Taylor, change the subject. Don't talk about the island. It's the one thing I said, and here I'm doing it. I wouldn't cancel my subscription if you guys like if the schedule of the show changed. I don't fucking care. Who cares?
Well, here's another thing. This is sort of not a real reason, but this is just a benefit. This is just something I like. I do the mental math for myself and sort of go like he about, which is because I mentioned my day job is so rarely actually requires me to put in effort.
The shit-eating grin on your face as you talk about your day job.
I love it, dude. Don't. This is why. This is one of the many reasons they don't tell any fucking one at work
Just
that I have a
the
podcast. None of them know.
Smug satisfaction.
Ooh, here's why. Both the previous Anime Sickos play, The Tragical History of Modesty City, and the upcoming new secret project that I am currently scripting are scripted 100% from 9 to 5 on weekdays. I'm getting paid to do it.
Incredible.
It's hard to fight that.
Yeah.
Like that's a very good value proposition.
Hard to fight. Hard to fight.
At every job I've ever had, no one has ever known I've told a joke.
That's
Like,
so
it's
crucial.
It's so funny.
I want to.
I'm just like a serious guy that they think is really intense.
I want to swoop down and save you like Mo wearing the fan and the parachute picks Homer up out of the boxing rink. That's what this is. That's the instinct. Is like I hear y'all talking about jobs, especially you, Joe, and I want to fan man down and pick you up out of the rink. I think that's what it is.
Another reason, and this is going back to our stupid audio projects, our stupid plays. Another reason, and this isn't as big as of one, but it is definitely one that shouldn't be discounted. We think it's funny to do the wrong thing.
Like there's just a dumb part of me that it's funny to do it wrong.
Like the secret project that I'm writing now. I haven't gotten the calculator out to get the actual budget, but I've just sort of been mentally thinking about like what would the budget be, considering how many roles there are and how much we would be probably paying each person, and also these other non-actorly duties that need to be done by someone who isn't me because I don't know how to do them, so I have to pay. How much would this be? And like, to me, it's very funny that the answer is a number so high that I don't think there is a podcast for which this would be a good business decision, no matter what level of income they're bringing in. And like, I'm just like, you know what? You know what would be funny? We should commission some original music.
It's also funny because no one asked for this.
Exactly. No one asked for this, and we will get no reward. Like, we will get no reward. That is so fucking funny to me.
I will say the one reason I think that planted the seed for a lot of what we're saying now is when we first started Shuffle Quest and like we looked at like what you should be doing and like many times Tom would be like the best practices would be to X, Y, and Z, and what he was looking for was someone to say like, yes, I see why that's a good idea, let's do it. And I every time was like, no, that sucks. Like, I don't want to do that either.
Yeah. And when we did our like half-hearted attempts, when we were like, you should post on Facebook all the time and have a Facebook ad campaign, it was a waste of time. Sucked ass. Hated doing it. Didn't work.
Awful. Bad. Oh my God. I'm so glad to talk to you about this. Just because we did it one time, just looking at the interface on the website to buy a Facebook ad is like something from Hellraiser where there's 1,000 chain hooks in me.
Oh, it's so uncomfortable. It's bad.
It's also
slimy.
And not erotic. No one's coming. If there's an inverse of coming, that's what I'm doing when I'm looking.
Jesus Christ. You're sucking it back up.
I'm sucking other people's cum.
Non-sexually.
It's opposite.
No,
it's
no one's
opposite
enjoying
erotic.
this.
It's at the end of Paprika.
Oh my God. I mean, there's also the fact that no human being who uses Facebook still has the brain required to enjoy good
Frog
things.
Parade, 100% on that site.
Yeah.
Like our entire Anime Sickos ad campaign, and like the only reason anyone knows about Anime Sickos is that there were like 200 Ride or Die Shuffle Quest fans who enjoyed the show because it is good. It's just that we don't know how to market it or get it out there, and also we aren't famous. We don't have any famous people already on the show. So we had like 200 Ride or Die fans who were like, you guys are really funny, and I'm like, I fucking know, right? And then we're like, hey, we have another show where we're just chatting, and about half of the people who listened to Shuffle Quest wanted to listen to a chat show. Then we took no further action ever to promote the show, and now it has a lot more people listening to it.
Just a snowball, like the most natural snowball momentum. Not saying huge, but like literally all done organically in the sense that we didn't help it along.
Yeah, because like all the attempts that I had taken to help it along prior sucked the joy out of the process and didn't work. So I'm just like, well, this is why our Patreon has no rewards, because it's just like, yeah, fuck you. You want a reward? The reward is the show.
God. Oof. I'm gonna
so
fix
funny.
you. I'm gonna fix you. I can fix him. I know it. I know it. I can. I'm gonna. As a goof. We'll just say it's as a goof.
We'll do it as a bit. It's a gag, folks.
I'm easily convinced, so
I'm going to start putting my suit on to podcast. I have to get my suit altered for Joe's upcoming wedding anyway.
Oh,
yeah,
fun.
Yeah.
Altered to what?
Fit?
Oh. That's the most boring answer, but I guess. Makes sense.
Shit, that was a bit. That was setting me up.
Could be altered to anything.
This is another thing. So many of these fucking people on these podcasts are like improv guys who like oh yeah, we're UCB veterans, and I've written for Eric Andre, obviously, and it's just like we did nothing. We've learned nothing and taken no class.
All I have are intrusive thoughts. That's what's happening. Like
that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Listen, first
I know it doesn't.
First of all,
it's
motherfuckers, having a podcast that's not scripted is improv. So that's you're in it. You're in the fucking script. I don't all these chat shows that talk about culture stuff from you to Chappa, the whole world bullshit. It's all improv because you're all fucking doing bits on mic for entertainment and money. Secondly,
I don't
you
like this.
have
We're canceling the show.
I know it's the truth, and you don't have to put this on the show. But like, no, it's true. You gotta fucking own up to it. It's a tale as old as time, back to the earliest radio DJs. A proud tradition of the biggest fuckheads that have ever had broadcast platforms. The worst of the worst of humanity. Radio DJs. We are now in that proud tradition. And now wait a minute. And there is some live comedy performance in your past, right?
Yeah, but that was all
Yeah.
self-produced.
Oh, fuck off. It's all come on.
Yeah, no fucker ever put me on a show. They're all like, "Do you do stand-up?" I'm like, "Not really." And they're like, "Then
Oh,
leave."
you're talking about people that have gotten the sword on the shoulder of the political and comedy establishment. Yeah. Well, they're all psychopaths. I mean, they're like that's the comedy.
I knew
the
it.
comedy industry only like the filter on the comedy industry is now the weirdest it's ever been. I really think that like if the entertainment industry wasn't the most unionized industry in America, and you could not unionize it now because everyone in it is in that bottom 3%. That very much so. Like the way the entertainment industry works now, if you write for a TV show, I mean, look at late night comedy, like anything.
It's
yeah,
grim.
it's just like these are the most head in the sand frog parade bootlickers you can have, and I say that having most of my best friends from the comedy world in literally writing for late night shows right now.
We talk about this all the time, but how like it's very clear to us that Stephen Colbert doesn't actually know why he used to be funny. Like it's not happened in his brain. He can't connect the dots.
Completely lost it because I think that the political conflict in this is now we're getting into like hardball territory. The political conflict in our society is now we're at the point where every dream has a breaking point, right? Like so. You can live in an illusion. You can live in a fake illusory, and in a sense, we all do, right? Language doesn't refer to the outside.
Yeah.
The Cartesian doubt that we all must acknowledge of,
I'm always talking about that.
We're always talking about that. The daemon. We're always talking about the brain daemon keeping us in a jar. We're in the Matrix. We're always, there's that. Sure. But if you're in this dream, and it doesn't correspond to reality, eventually you are going to starve to death or walk off a cliff or, like at some point, if your dream and reality are moving further and further apart, eventually there's going to be catastrophic real world material consequences. And we are reaching a point where those material consequences are becoming more and more obvious. And so the people in the dream are having to are retracting from it. So that's why you have like stuff like that. That's why like Stephen Colbert is a perfect example of used to be able to talk about conflict and difference and competition, which is what politics is, and now cannot. And I don't think it has anything to do with him moving to the network. I think that just by dint of his class, he cannot confront any meaningful conflict because that would mean looking outside the dream.
Ooh, baby.
His atoms would scatter.
Yeah. What he is can only exist in the dream.
There's also the grim fact that to actually speak a political truth, to actually describe the world as it is and take a stand on it in service of morality will, not might, will make you the target of a organized hate movement.
Yeah. I mean, and then this is one thing that Inception gets right. Is like the dream doesn't want you to know it's a dream.
Yeah.
It will send agents at you. But also, you can also convince yourself that means anytime people don't like you, you're right.
That's true.
That's why all these unionization efforts are so exciting, because they are this very rare carve out where workers are able to say the reality as it is actually. And obviously people are yelling at them and saying like, fuck you, you shouldn't unionize, whatever. But it's like, that's what is happening in these pushes.
Yeah, that's why unionization fucking rules. It's like, yes, there's negotiation in it, but it's not negotiable. You're changing the material access of real power. You are really, truly, outside the dream, reshaping who gets to do what and who gets to be normal. And that's why you should do it. Everybody should do it.
Hell yeah.
Can we make a judge count our union votes as a 2-person podcast?
Well, it's yeah. So y'all,
who's management?
Who's management? I'll tell you. The way Fortunate Horse works is all the shows are cooperatives. So everyone on Fun City or Root Tales, each person gets a vote as to how everything goes. It's all done by consensus, so it's not majority rules. Everybody's kind of got to agree to everything, which sounds like a nightmare, but it's also how we unionized, and we organized 60, 80 people like that. And so with small podcasts, it works. Like there's pros and cons for everything, you know, but it works. It's great. So it's a way of like building the union in at the ground level, so no one has to have those kind of fights. But yeah, with two guys,
That's dope.
you can manage, I think.
Yeah.
I think we would do it.
Yeah.
I don't.
I'm probably gonna vote yes.
Yeah, I'm leaning yeah.
It depends. I need to get my little pamphlet from the management. If it says that my union dues could go to buy a video game instead, that's extremely compelling to me. So.
Yeah, you're the target demo for that argument.
I have a Twitter exchange screen capped in my Google Keep forever, and it's like from 3 years ago. And it was just someone in the replies with someone else in the replies, and they were complaining about unions. And it was a woman saying, "I always tell my husband that if it wasn't for the benefits or salary, your union's worthless." And this was not a joke. Like, this was not a goofer. This was not a goofer. And I just keep it as a little evil totem, I guess. to be reminded of like how some people like what else would you want at that point?
Yeah. Other than that, how was the play, Mrs. Lincoln? I mean, this is is a moron. And it's also not
folks.
true. There is a big awesome thing that they do, which is if we get enough unions, they can work together. Imagine if every airline, imagine if all the flight attendants and all the Starbucks and all the UPS drivers struck until we got rid of assault weapons or until we got universal fucking healthcare. We would get it in a fucking week. We get it in a week. And there are places that do that. That's what they do in France. In France, if you say, I'm going to have to ask you to work till 8 instead of 5, the country shuts down.
They get naked and flip cars so fast.
The trains don't run. They just stop, and then they always get what they want.
They invented croissants.
I mean, they can't go wrong.
Never been horny. Never been horny. Don't tell the paper that I ever got horny.
Taylor Moore, thank you for going Guesto mode and teaching us about why we're business dolts.
Namaste. You were the smartest, sweetest boys. It was so nice to talk to you. Thanks for having me on.
It was our pleasure. It was an honor and privilege. Taylor, if folks are listening to this and think, he's funny, this guy, this Guesto, what can I do to find out more about what he does? Well, what can they do? How would they go about that?
Unionize your workplace, and then find me on Twitter at taylor.biz.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you got it. And hey, do you like podcasts? Well, if you don't, you're about to, because we got 3 of the only 4 good ones. And here they are. We got political, funny cyberpunk with Fun City. We got sort of a Star Trek ripoff called Those Stars of Space. You're going to love it. And then, of course, our flagship show, Rude Tales of Magic, the hit podcast. Rude Tales of Magic, of course, all 3 are everywhere podcasts are.
Yeah. I love when they explain where to find podcasts on a podcast, because it's just like, how did you find
You're
this?
here. You did it. Look down.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm in Brigadoon. I don't need to to be told how to get here.
You gotta go to Brigadoon. Eloise, tell this guy he's gotta go to Brigadoon.
That's all the time we got for Anime Sickos this week. I have been Tom, an Anime Sicko.
I've been Joe, an anime sicko.
I'm Taylor Moore, an anime sicko.
We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, a sicko. You can follow me on Twitter at TomHarrison19. Joe is also a sicko. You can follow him on Twitter at ShariaUncle. You can follow Anime Sickos on Twitter at Anime Sickos, or email us at animesickos@gmail.com. Please leave us a review or something. I don't know. Tell a friend. Anyway, until next time, bye.